All right, what do we got going on here? We've got some broken stuff to fix, and we're doing a little co-working today, so I'm working on some other stuff. But I figure I'll hang out with you guys a little bit and talk shop, maybe let people know about our Discord and know about that kind of stuff. You know, normal stuff that we do around here. Let me put this up here as well so you guys can pop in on there if we need to. Let me see if I can also turn that on. Discord. Make it visible. Discord. Maybe put that down there. Yeah, if people want to hang out and talk in the Discord, I think you guys can. Put that up there. Yeah, and then other than that, we're just kind of hanging out. I might do a little bit of Linux fixing. You are the first ALS journey. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Normally we do a little training and talking and stuff, but right now we're just going to kind of hang out, and I'm going to work on some other stuff and just have the music on, and our tasks are in the bottom right corner there. Hang out, ask Linux questions, do some other stuff, and then profit, right? Ex Shunya over on the YouTube side. Yeah, nice time for you guys. Absolutely, yeah. I don't normally get on during the day, but while I'm working on some other stuff for work, I can kind of hang out in here. And yeah, you're welcome to lurk. You're welcome to just hang out. I'm sure some people stop by and stuff, but I don't take attendance, so I don't need anybody to worry about like days that they are here or aren't, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, you guys can just hang out. Darth Vader, you watched and then put me through the Mac Mini's built-in speaker, so I sound like a robot. You know, it's funny. I've actually turned into a robot at least a couple times on stream over the years, where I know that something was like a little off with the stream, something to do with the sound. And I remember one time I did it where I was on stream, and then I tried to. Something happened where I like opened the Discord mic, and it just completely hosed my. I was on Streamlabs OBS back then. Now I just run normal OBS, and it actually works pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it, so it ends up being a pretty alright little way of doing things. So again, what we're doing, just kind of co-working. I am going to figure out what's busted, though, with this system real quick. So I'm going to come over here. I like to jump on this, and then I'm going to rechange the title of this to just be like streaming, right? Right, so I'll just be streaming, and this one will be like streaming 2. Something like that. So that'll be across the bottom. But anyways, let's go find out what's going on. Why is my system not able to see those systems? So I think, if I were to guess, it's got something to do with my Prometheus, because these things are querying from a Prometheus box, right? So for some reason this query isn't working right. So I'm going to go check what's going on with Prometheus. So there's 2 ways I can do it. I can actually go right here and go to 9090 and see, is Prometheus up? Oh, Prometheus looks up. Maybe I just say uptime as a value. Whoops. Right? And I try to query that. And we're getting data. Oh, is that not working for you guys? That's weird. That is definitely linked to the wrong thing. All right. It's better. I don't know what just happened there. That was really weird, because I have no window open like that. So anyways, all right. The uptime is good for Prometheus, so that's working. But why aren't these pieces of information coming through, right? Why is this unable to query? In this case, this looks like the queries that I'm doing. I'm going off the default, which is not our Prometheus. So that makes me wonder, how are we doing? So it may be a problem. It's probably not our Prometheus then. It's probably our Influx DB2 box. So let's go check that. I'm in the bottom middle of my screen. Yeah, Streamlabs. The problem with Streamlabs is they make you pay extra for the ability to stream to 2 locations, and then they're busted all the time. So like, I'm not even super impressed with them. How often they were busted. Let's do a DF-H, and it seems like we have almost filled up our root on this box. Not completely, but let's see system CTL status influx DB. Our influx DB is active and running. Let's say uptime on this box. He's been up 48 days. So nothing's likely changed, but system CTL status firewall D. Okay, no firewall D. All right, UFW status. I think this is a different type of box. Yeah, inactive firewall, all that kind of stuff. So this machine's not. Oh, actually, you're a pro lurker. I like that on ProLug. That's actually a good way to put it. Yeah, you guys are definitely welcome to lurk and just hang out. Just kind of playing some music in the background and hanging out. What is, hold on. So if my box is up and running, so I'm going to do an ss-ntulp, and I'm going to look for port 8086, which is open. I think it's just off the screen for you guys there, but it's hidden behind my little penguins over there, but it's definitely there. And so 8086 is open, should be listening. So then, we wonder why, if this thing is going to the default, what is the default? Let's go over here and look at our data sources. And InfluxDB on 180, 8086 is our default. So let's see, IP-BR ADDR. And he is 181. So it's almost like my Prometheus has reset to go to the wrong. That's not normal. I wonder if something happened to my Prometheus server recently, because my apps are running just fine. That's what I didn't need. And my Prometheus is up and running. Oh, well, Prometheus doesn't even matter to this. We were looking at InfluxDB2. And this is the same thing where he's also trying to go off of the InfluxDB. So, yes, that's kind of weird. Why is that? Yeah, we're going off of that. This is having a problem getting to 180. So let's get out of here. Let's just go to Influx. He is 180. And he has not filled up anything as well. Influx DB. So this box on 180. Huh. Well, this is super strange because this is my newer server, and something has changed this over to not, one, it's not even the correct server, and two, over on the server, this thing is not running InfluxDB. So there's a couple things that are possible here. No, it's not because it's a new setup. Let's go look over on Let's go look at our servers here. Loki should be on 180. InfluxDB2 is on 181. Yeah, all these things are... Huh. That's a super strange one. Like, why has that changed recently? That's a question here that I'm trying to think through. Like, what? Because just the other day I had these on, and these were all correct, and then now something has happened where they're not going to the right place anymore. So let's go look at what this other one is. What's this other influx? Oh, that's it. 180.86. Prometheus over here. That's weird. Loki's also on 180. That's fine. But the database that they had been going to had been Influx 2. Yeah. So that's strange that something's changed on this server. I called that one Grafana 2. Maybe it's Grafana. He is correctly on... he's on 218. Well, so that's weird. Hold on. Alright, so those ones are looking at the right thing then. So apparently I'd been looking at the wrong logs and apps, so I don't want to change any of that. Alright, well that was my own fault then. I was going to the wrong server. Let's look at that. Look at security. We'll look at, what do I have on here? The other ones do we want to keep an eye on? More logs. Let's go for hammer. There we go. We go for messages on that one. Okay. Good. All right. We'll let that spin a little bit. Whoops. We'll let that just kind of spin in the background. So yeah, I don't know what I was doing there. I don't know what I was thinking about there, but I had it all set up wrong. I was pointing at the wrong data. Wrong systems. Is Loki and Prometheus the same? No. So, no. Loki's doing something. Give me a call. Give me a second, guys. I got a call from a non-profit. Hold on. This is Scott. Hello? Oh, they didn't want to talk to me very badly. If they put me in a waiting room and it doesn't even beep or anything, then they obviously don't want me. Yeah, Camby, I'm working. I'm working on other stuff. We're just kind of hanging out in here, seeing what's going on. Not working too hard. Oh, anyway, so no, what Loki is an API in your system. I kind of think of APIs like little lightning rods. Well, at least this one. In that it's just sitting there open for anything that has the right permissions to touch it. Anything that's got the right permissions, in this case, can just chuck data at Loki. So all of my systems are just throwing their log data at Loki. Every time something changes across all of my systems here. So let's go like just SSH2 like Rocky 1, let's say. And then we cat at opt Where do we have it here on him? Opt Promtail. And then I think in here it's Promtail local config, right? So what's happening is this machine's booting up. He's reading this config from a shared network location, in fact, and he's turning on this. So Promtail is a tool that will watch varlog messages and varlog secure, and every time something changes in those logs, it just yells it out to this client, Loki. So Loki is just sitting there in my environment waiting for, an API call every time something's happening. And then it's just storing it as a time series database of all of the events. Then anything that wants to read from it can read it using logql format against that it's a Loki API and then it's a query. And they just query, so Grafana can query, in this case, all of the failed logins to that's the failed logins to my external server. People in the last 6 hours that have tried to log into my server and failed, right? These are all the failed users. I know all the failed users. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to come in as root or bill or CEQ or whatever, right? There's all this kind of stuff. That's what Loki's doing. Loki is just doing event logging. Prometheus is doing something similar in that it's a time series database. It's keeping track of everything in my environment. But Prometheus is going out and scraping from the environment everything that is happening. I can pull it up for you real quick. Hold on. I'll pull you up a little drawing. The Prometheus type architecture that we're dealing with. My home lab architecture in general. Here's my monitoring architecture. Give me a second here. Make sure that you guys can see that. All right, let me pull that up real quick. Where do I have my... Maybe I don't have an event for this, so I gotta make an event for this. We'll do window capture. Yeah, window capture. VS Code. Pull this up here. Pull up the monitoring. So this is the monitoring architecture in my home lab, right? And we don't need to do that. But the point is, you've got Promtail agent here throwing data to Loki, Loki being queried by Grafana. But Prometheus is different in this. Prometheus is, one, a separate service, but two, it scrapes data. It does what's called a poll every 10 seconds, POLL. And it pulls from the node exporter on each node, and then it saves it in the time series database. Promtail is pushing to Loki via that API call. Prometheus is reading, it's scraping over HTTP, and we could use HTTPS if we wanted. Actually, we could use HTTPS. We could use certificates anywhere in here if we wanted. That's actually probably going to be one of our security labs, is we're going to secure the communication probably between the Promtail agent and Loki, and then the Grafana and Loki, and only if you have the certificates will you be talking to any of these, right? And that's, that's another security thing that you can add into your cluster. We're going to be doing that probably in our configuration coming up. But anyways, that's my little VS Code thing about how that works. So for some of you guys that haven't seen Excalidraw, right? This is our, I've got the logs, I've got this coming together for our course, right? These are the topics that are going to go into the course, and I'll be adding more and more to these kind of as we go, right? So that's kind of the rundown on the difference between Loki and Prometheus. Hopefully that makes sense. They're both time series databases. One's focused on events and pushes. The other is focused on scrapes. And Prometheus really is like king right now. Like, people really love using Prometheus to just gather everything. So, but yeah. Time series database, both of them. All right, what's happening? See if people are messaging me. Grafana, an industry standard tool, or people use other stuff also. Yeah, Malvi, I think Grafana is really getting built into a lot of newer stuff. Because here's the thing, right? Like, the old paradigm from 20 years ago is, slap some Nagios in there, get a big old Nagios in there, and that's a great tool. But it does everything in one tool, and it can be somewhat unwieldy, right? And I've edited the PHP for the front end of Nagios, right? It's like not it's not like super easy. I mean, I'm not a PHP developer or anything, but it's not something that's like normal. But nowadays with Grafana and using like what we call more of like a tool chain, you start to where's this at? Let me pull this back up here. You start to see where we can just have any tool you want for ingest, as long as that tool is gonna, as long as that tool works with the other tools. You can have whatever you want over here for storage. Literally whatever tool works for you as storage. And then your front end can be Grafana. Other front ends I've seen that work pretty well depending on where you're coming from, like Elasticsearch and having Kibana be more of like the front end. I've seen Kibana, Kibana. I've seen that Kibana, Kibana. Yeah, Kibana, like that. That one is pretty good as a front end. I've seen some cool stuff out of there. And then I've seen obviously you could use Splunk, but typically if you're like a data person and you're using Splunk, you would have to give people like predefined dashboards. You don't want people down there probably doing queries because they're probably going to have a hard time learning the queries and stuff. So I think you want to make the queries for them. But anyways, that's I just did that to show you guys that that's kind of the newer model is just have a tool chain pipeline, and then we can update individual components without affecting the other pieces, and then you can go. Yeah, I think people are heavily moving towards Grafana though. I see it getting deployed in a lot of instances in a lot of different ways. So. And there's an enterprise version you can pay for. There's also a really nice. They've got a really nice online free version that you can use. I've been signed up for their stuff for like 3 years, and they've never charged me anything. So I think they're pretty okay. In fact, they don't even have like you don't even have to put a credit card in, and it says right on the page this is always going to be free. So there's no. I mean, they may decommission it one day, but the point is they're never going to charge you for it, right? That's always the trade-off when you use free stuff, right? Like they can get rid of it when they want, but hey, they never charged you, So, yeah, Grafana is kind of the standard going forward, though, for most people. Sandeep said, "I saw the schedule for Linux security course. I work at night shift. Could you please put those sessions on YouTube? Thanks." Sandeep, I might. I haven't decided yet completely if we're recording those. The first pass may be just us doing it and working on stuff, and then when I get it a little more cleaned up, it depends how clean I can make it, right? Like how much I can get it ready for like prime time, right? Like, because you gotta remember, you put something on YouTube, it's gonna be there forever. You want to make it as accurate as you can. I mean, aside from my live sessions, I don't really care about the live sessions on here, but anyway, so that's kind of where we're at and what we're working on. Yeah, I don't see anybody talking in there, so I'll get rid of that too. Where's that at? Boom, get out of there. All right. So this is what we're working on. This is my other screen. We're just keeping an eye on Werewolf, making sure that it's running. Oh, we do have some systems to check over there, but we'll do that kind of as we get to breaks and stuff. So, uh-oh. I hear a grandbaby coming. Where's he at? Is he coming towards me?
No, it's my son.
Oh. I'm streaming, but I'm not. I'm just co-working. I'm not on camera. So, all right. But yeah, guys, that's what we're working on. I'm fixing up my systems, getting them working a little better. I was hoping the grandbaby was popping by. He's always running around somewhere, but all right. What do we got here then? Let me go check on this. Jobs. People are talking down in our Discord about becoming Linux sysadmins. Yeah, that's the goal of our group too. If you guys don't know, like our goal is to help people who are doing this stuff as amateurs, people who are doing this stuff for fun, people who are playing with computers just because they have some old stuff and they're like, I'll throw some Linux on it, and those guys who want to kind of solidify it into a career and not just do it for fun anymore, but also do it for pretty good pay. We're trying to give you guys the skills and kind of funnel you towards that. Yeah, I crashed my bike. Linux admin's greater than Win. I think over my lifetime I've seen Linux admins make a lot more. But that could just be me. Also, again, you start as an admin and you eventually want to work over into engineering where you're building stuff and you're designing stuff and you're giving, you're building individual components of systems and understanding how they work. And to me, that's the thing that's more valuable, because that comes with a bit of a pay bump too, typically. So we start out being Linux sysadmins, and then we get better over time and do this other stuff. Let me check something while we're on here, because we found this. Let's do a Control-Shift-R. Will tell us reverse search, and we'll just say Ansible. And we're going to say we want to go all. Let's hit all of our systems and just check them for uptime. Just look at all the systems and uptime, because I think we had Rocky 10 down the other day. Oh. Guys, you don't need a cat uptime. My bad. But Rocky 10's unreachable. You see that? We got to go fix Rocky 10. So let's see. Yeah, Rocky 10's down. All right, let's give my old college try on the kickover. All our systems have been up for a lot longer than they normally are, so let's go ahead and reboot the environment too. We'll just give it a reboot like this. And that's going to hit all the boxes and hit them all with a reboot. That's fine. Don't worry about it. It's going to be real red now. And then we got to go fix 10 real quick. So let's see if I have the tool here for you guys to watch me on 10. Yep. All right. So let's pull this up. That thing's rebooted, so we'll do another uptime here in 10 minutes. Sleep 600 is 10 minutes, so we'll run that. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go check on Rocky 10 what's wrong with him. Come over here, and it says, yeah, somebody was doing something with him, and he's just not responding anymore. So we're going to go ahead and reboot him. And we'll watch him. We'll leave that one on. Hey, Colchis, how's it going? We are not working too hard, just kind of hanging out and fixing the lab environment, running through some stuff, maybe playing around a little bit. Oh, let me move this off to the side over here. We'll still watch this guy boot, but we can see a little more of that as we go. There we go. Yeah, so we're just kind of hanging out and not working too hard. Also, I've just got on this little cut screen here because I'm doing stuff in other windows and I'm working on stuff. And really, we're just looking at stuff in my home lab while other stuff's going. Yeah, mortified if you caught me working hard on stream. Fair enough. Fair enough. Malvi said, is Grafana mainly used in K8s or majority is non-K8s? I've run it, so in the high-performance compute world, I've always run it in its own environment. So it's got its own, it's its server, it's on its own, typically a virtual machine, but also can be on a physical machine. And I don't run it in K8s professionally, no. But I guess people could, and I guess people probably are, but I don't do that. I've not done that myself. Let's let all these machines reboot here. Everything in the environment's coming back up. Hopefully pretty clean. I can hear my server spinning up behind me because all those things are working. They're working for all that extra space. They're all grabbing against the Werewolf TFTP module and getting their iPixie stuff. So there's a lot of networking happening, a lot of other stuff happening inside of those two servers. Dragonov 308 said, I bought your book, but I wonder if you can give me an overview. So far, I've found its useful lab guide. It seems like everything can be done on the lab without the book. Is that an accurate statement? Yeah, I think I always tell people, Dragonov, to start with the labs and do them all, and then to go back if they want to, they can get the book. Because what the book does is it just adds a component of reflection that I think is valuable for learning. That's all it does. It acts as like almost like a journal of what you did. And then I think that it can give you a lot more with like the digging deeper sections that I didn't put in the actual. The Killer Coda labs are just press buttons, and we're done. Whereas the lab book, the book that we published, is more like do all of these things. So yeah. Yeah, no, I mean it's the book's designed to be helpful. I would really hope people grab out of that book, throw it in a notepad, and answer the questions for themselves, right? So that they feel like, yeah. So it's like you can learn a lot of stuff, but when you reflect back on what you did, I think you learn it better. And I say that with the weight of like 16 years teaching, college students as well. So like, it's kind of my thoughts on. If you just blow through things quickly, which the labs are designed to be just blown through, right? Like my labs, you can just press the button and finish. It'll do the labs for you. I don't make you think. But what I do want you to do is kind of reflect on what the output of the system is, because really at the end of the day, your understanding of this is how the tool's going to interact. I can't tell you if you did uptime on 10 different machines what the output's going to look like. What I can do is tell you how to think about like what the output looks like, so that no matter what comes out of that gate, whatever the answer is, it gives you good. Oh man, I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that fan's really spinning up behind me back there as all these nodes are going. Anyway, so yeah, that's my thoughts on the book. I tell people do the labs. It's all there. It's all free and out there. And then the book is more like, again, just deeper, getting deeper. That thing is really spinning up the fans. That's almost like a full reboot of the system right there. That's going. So, Kolka's book is more polished accumulation. Yeah, that's what I think of it as. Spend the whole hour or more whenever I do a labs because I take detailed notes and wind up going down rabbit holes. Yeah, Kolkas, I tell you guys all the time, if one of the best things that could happen to you in any stream, this one or others, is like if I show you guys a Stig viewer and you're like, oh, that little Stig viewer thing is cool, and then you go spin off and you're like, oh, I can really dig in, and then you read some stuff, and next thing you know, you've got a job stigging systems, and that's something that's really interesting to you. And then now you don't really have a job for the next 25 or 30 years. You have a career and something you enjoy doing, right? Like that's the kind of goal with a lot of this. Like Linux itself, not everybody's going to get to be a Linux admin, guys. Like we talk about it, like Linux admin work, people are having a hard time getting in there right now. But you might take that Linux and go be a researcher, or you might take that Linux and go, I don't know, support a company. You don't know where you're going to end up. I've worked at insurance companies. I've worked at cancer research companies. I've worked for the U.S. government quite a bit on, anybody from, taking downstream on satellite data to actually launching missiles, like building missiles and doing missile simulation. I've worked with all this stuff, but I don't actually do any of that stuff. I'm just the guy. I love being down in the engine room with the servers, right? Being the engineer, as it were, on the servers, keeping the servers all running so that those guys can be up there doing whatever the hell they want. My job is just keeping all the servers, like the fleet of servers, moving forward, So that's kind of the goal. Sandeep, you said most security jobs need the SIEM. Can we learn some SIEM solution in this Linux security course? Yeah, Sandeep, I'm definitely going to be looking at more ways to. We've got two components in the course. There's two parts that are going to be heavily around the monitoring and parsing of logs. So that will probably be focused on seam. So and yeah, I think that could be a component we focus on, and then monitoring and alerting. You know, up here I might say, um, you know, as we're watching things, the difference between just monitoring and actually making changes in the system. So we might say, let me think of that from the networking standpoint. Um, what's that tool I'm thinking of there? I don't even know what I'm thinking of, guys. Xshenya Digital Plus AI for sysadmin and security would be. Yeah, Xshenya, we might have. I'm trying to get some of the other guys to stream more because some of the guys work a lot more with AI professionally than I do. I really just mess around with AI a little bit and then stay away from it. But hold on, I gotta look at this. Where the heck's this thing at? Oh, that's done. So let's that box has come back up. Let me turn that off real quick. Hold on. Let me. Where's that? Get rid of that. Pull that up. Let's watch this because our 10 minutes should almost be up, and then this should be popping up across the screen, and everything should be coming up. Yeah, where is? Hold on. Let me think about this. What is the name of that? Hold on. I'm trying to think of a name that I can't remember right now. What the heck's the name of that? I do not know. I can't think of the terms I'm thinking of right now. Security onion. Yeah. Yeah, Sandeep, we're not going to go. Like, here's the thing. We're not going to do. Like, my focus on this for this, like, security Linux course that we're going to run is going to be on securing the Linux. And what I mean by that is, like, we're going to touch all these other things, but we're going to make sure that the Linux servers that we're on are secure. They're reporting out, which Seam does have a component to that. But we want to make sure, really, in our system that, or in the focus of this, that the system that comes up is acceptable for whatever the risk appetite of our company is. I'm not going to go into like risk management stuff. I might talk a little bit about like a risk management framework and where we fit in on like the server side of things. But really, at the end of the day, we just need to make sure that, yeah, our Linux systems are secure. In fact, the start of it all is going to be around one of the big things I'm going to talk about early on is going to be, what do I have it right here? Yeah, the types of controls, right? So what I mean by the types of controls is what is, you know, a technical control, what is an administrative or managerial control, they call them now. They change the terms every now and then. I'm going to make sure that the people that are sitting around working through the course have a knowledge of when you set this STIG, right? So then I have these MariaDB STIGs here. When you go to this STIG, what is the STIG asking you to do, right? Because it's very useful for you if you're going to be doing a bunch of security technical implementations, understanding what the implementation is. So like what I mean by that is some of the MariaDB stuff are like, make sure that this logging is set to go to syslog. Okay. So then you look at that and you go, well, this is a technical control because it's going to happen, right? It's happening technically. It's not administrative. We're not asking for it. It's not physical. It's not something physically stopping somebody, but it's a technical control. We change where the log is going, but it's also a detective control, right? So it's a detective type control because it's not actually preventing or stopping anything from happening. It's detective. You're looking at the logs later, right? So it's one of these things where there's a bunch of different things. So then there's other ones where it's like, if I just log somebody logging into my MySQL, in the case of MariaDB, they're doing MySQL, and I just log it, am I actually doing a preventative change there? Or am I just doing a detective change because now when the person logs in, we're going to track it and then we'll be able to look at it later. That's all we're doing, right? With a detective control, you're not stopping people from doing stuff. And there's a bunch of, so what I mean by that is in MariaDB, there's 110 things that you can stig on a box, right? There's 110 things, STIG, that you can stig. So it's STIG, stig. All right, anyways, it now knows I'm not saying stick, but you can stig these things on the box, STIG, and that fucking thing. It's so you do that, but let's say you do all of those ones where all it does is detective changes. Well, that's wonderful. Where are those logs going? Is anybody ever going to look at the logs? Are they ever going to alert? And if they're not, why don't you just not even bother doing it? Because it literally doesn't matter in all the world what you just did, because it's not. You guys see what I'm saying? Like there's all this stuff. Exshunya, having a local LLM run through logs and send alerts. Yeah, actually, Fisherman wrote something for that kind of aggregated your logs. One of the things you got to think of is the cost of that, right? And when I say the cost of that, I mean the sunk cost of a server that you were going to use for something else, now being used for running an LLM and constantly processing and doing those things, right? That could be a cost that you guys accept, right? This is all part of that risk appetite thing I was talking about, where you decide, yeah, we do want to run this all through an LLM, and we can afford to do that every 15 minutes or whatever, or in real time even, I don't know. But not every company is going to want to do that or be able to, or have the technical knowledge to do that, right? Hold on, let me see what's going on, and I got a chat from work that somebody's messaging. Hold on. All right. Anyways, out of work over on YouTube. How's it going? Yeah, we're not working too hard. We're just kind of hanging out. I think I said out of work. I'll just call you Verk, because then it'll hopefully get that better. Thought I said out of work. That's a great name, huh? Just being out of work. Probably not great right now, because like everything's super expensive for people, right? But yeah, we want to get people gainfully employed, want to get people doing this stuff for more than just fun, right? We want to get you guys doing this stuff and hopefully finding companies that'll pay you. I just had a buddy message me about AWS stuff. If any of you guys, any of the guys down in the Discord are AWS, and it was for solutions architect stuff. They need somebody that knows AWS well, but also they need somebody who can do the AI/ML stuff. So I actually messaged one of our guys about that, because these guys are doing economics, and they're pretty big. Well, they're getting big as far as like doing economics and research for companies, and providing them sound decision making based on other things within the organization. But yeah, I think it is hard for people to get in. That's why I constantly tell you guys, work on just keeping the skills sharp, and then look for anything even adjacent. If you're younger, go start working in a network operations center. Work in a security operations center if you can get in. Even if you're trying to get into Linux, find a company that's running Linux somewhere, and then try to get in and start supporting it. And then one day you're just going to find out that they're like, oh yeah, this guy knows some Linux, we'll go move him over there, hopefully, and then you'll start getting more and more. Isubu said, is that what people are doing now instead of algorithms? AI, OpenAI sounds like a lot of tax on hardware. There's a lot of tax on hardware resources first on that ISOBU. Yeah, you pay a lot up front in your training of models. That's where you pay the most. And some of these models, even with GPUs, take, weeks and weeks to train. And I work on systems that have, tens of thousands of cores of GPUs on them. GPUs and CPUs, but GPUs are the ones, people are using for this stuff. And yeah, there's just, it does take a lot. And I don't think, like, you still need to know. This is the thing that a lot of people need to take into account is you can't just throw stuff, throw AI at a problem and it'll solve it for you. No, you still need people to interpret it, which is why economists are still making good money. And the guys that I know that are over working in that space, they are computer science majors in their undergrads, they're economists and mathematicians in their upper degrees and that kind of stuff, but they still sometimes need people to support the servers, right? Support their interface to the cloud as an expert. So that's why I reached out to one of our guys who works with ML. He works specifically with machine learning heavily and AWS. In fact, he works with both of those things almost exclusively. So try to get him in contact with those guys because they might want to hire him, even though he already works for AWS. But I guess it's good to have a company want to kind of pull away from you. LMs are like chips; they'll get cheaper with time. Yeah, Shunya, that's possibly true. However, you got to remember a lot of the training. A lot of people train their own stuff, and the cost of training stuff will never go lower if you're retraining a model. Hold on one second, guys. I'm gonna grab some water. Like if you're training a model on an algorithm or a data set, let's say you're training a model on, a couple terabytes of some economic forecasting data, and you're letting it just figure out what's going on, and then you're testing it against, you're doing like an 80-20 split, which is what most people do for like training and testing, and then, you do that, and then you find out that, some of your data was bad, or you find out that some parameter that you set wasn't good. You may have to redo, weeks and weeks worth of time, and there's no way to shorten that time. The only way to shorten that time is to throw more hardware at it, right? Or throw it across more systems. So, yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff to do to make that better, but it's still one of these things that people have to spend time with. All right, hold on real quick. We already did all our reboot. We already checked all our uptime. Let's make sure our servers are checking in and doing all the things that they should be doing. So people that are hanging out with me, I'm kind of just co-working right now. Yeah, it's very expensive, Shunya. Yeah, and some of these people I work with, they have all the hardware. It's the getting people in to use it, right? Like the government has a lot of hardware. Dell and some of these companies that my company contracts under, they have a lot of hardware. It's just, knowing what the problems are and having the right people on them is also a thing. But yeah, you're right. It's very expensive currently, 100%. Secret said, "Sir, how is DeepSeek cheaper?" I don't even know. Never even used it. I don't even know what DeepSeek is. I don't do anything with that. You guys will find if you hang out here, most all of the work that I do is just low-level Linux. I do low-level Linux. People can spackle whatever they want on top of it. Like if I'm down in the engine room of a bunch of ships, keeping the ships moving forward, and you want to put a bunch of cargo on top of the ship, I don't care. If you want to put a bunch of guns on top of the ship and launch, I don't care. Like I'm the guy who's keeping the fleet of ships, or in this case, servers, moving forward. If that kind of makes sense. I don't know a lot about like the newest technologies and any of that stuff. I just am like a, person down in the engine room keeping everything kind of running. So that's what I do. That's what I try to show you guys. One of the aspects of keeping all my stuff running is securing it, which is a big part of what our like security group that's coming up. We're going to be doing that security admin group, and then this was me showing you guys kind of. I just decided to start laying it out and just putting all the notes in here. I'm just going to build the course like this for myself and draw it out, and then I'll start to kind of fashion it down. Because what are we? We're 10 days away from starting. Oh gosh, I am not. I'm not as far ahead as I would like. Malvi, I would not call my position DevOps. No, I am. I am a systems engineer. I am a high performance compute engineer. I am a Linux engineer, I guess, if you want to think of it like that. That would be the best title for me. Would be like a Linux engineer. And by the way, my career has been almost completely the last 15 years categorized by my ability to make a bunch of things happen the exact same way with automation tools in Bash and Ansible. Perl as well. Perl I've heavily used too, but Perl's mostly dead now, mostly dead. So Bash and Ansible are my tools of choice. But if you said, "Hey Scott, I've got all this hardware. I need these 300 machines to look exactly the same in like the end of a week, and I need them to be all secured," that's what I do. As long as I have access to all of them, as long as I can touch them all with like IPMI and reboot them and make them check into like Werewolf or something, whatever. The build tool doesn't matter. XCat, Werewolf. Those are the two kind of big ones I've used. What other ones have I used over time? HPCM and Shasta. Those are big high performance compute things, but also just deploying servers via Kickstart and that kind of stuff. I tend to be the thing I've mostly done is just build big fleets of servers that look exactly the same. It's been a big part of my career. So that's what I would call my position. I am not quite DevOps. I am the guy before they knocked down the wall and made it DevOps. I am the guy that's ops. I am keeping the servers built and running typically. And you got to make a change on these 10 dev servers. You guys don't have root. They'll call me in. I'll make sure that we have the process down so we could deploy their tool or whatever in a production environment. And I'm also, I would say I also kind of specialize in moving dev teams from dev to prod. And I say that because I used to support about 200 dev teams over at when I was at AAA. I supported about 200 dev teams as the platform engineering team lead. So I was the lead for both Linux and Windows, and basically everything would move from dev to test, QA, and prod, and I would help automate that process with Ansible, deploy all their stuff into the new systems, make sure testing was testing was automatically happening, and then remediation could occur or whatever. That was a big part of what I did. So, but I am not a DevOps guy. I am the underlying Linux guy who just happens to be pretty okay at automation. So, hopefully that clears up what I do. Malvi. My goal here, though, my goal on stream in general and hanging out with you guys is to get people into doing Linux. Get people that are doing it professionally and pivot them over into, get people that are doing it as amateurs and not professionally yet into doing it professionally, right? Like instead of doing it as fun, they're doing it for money. Not a DevOps guy, revoke salty beard guy. Yeah, I'm not a DevOps guy. DevOps didn't exist when I started. That's like a newer term. I think DevOps has been around all of about maybe like 8 years. Yeah. I'm just kidding. I don't care. But that's another thing that you guys will find about me. Like, I don't care. Like, people be like, "Oh, you're on a Windows system." I'll be like, "Yeah, it doesn't matter. I can do all the stuff I need when I get to a command line. That's what matters." Like, everybody's always worried about stuff that doesn't matter, especially amateurs. And it's like, nope. Focus on the stuff that matters. Can I build a system? Can I do these simple things? Like, can I do these things? I don't worry about what other people are doing, right? And I think that will make people better. Did I have to? I've used IP tables extensively, Malvi, in my career. Yeah. I have. I don't think I have any labs directly on IP tables because NF tables has kind of taken over. But yeah, I can configure. Like if you're saying, can I configure a box to be like a router? Yeah. I do all that stuff. In fact, I have that. Where's that at? One of my boxes here. If we go look at like C router. C router is actually configured so you can only get in here on him. He is he's got the simplest routing policy. You might say, why are you looking at him at the console? Because you can't get in this box anywhere else, right? This box only comes up. You can only get to this guy via the console like this. Nowhere else does he listen. but he sits on the 192.168.200 network as the .1, so he's functioning as the router here. And then in the 192.168.11 network of my home network, he's a .160. So then traffic can flow to him. So if I come over here, right? Let me get that out of the way real quick. I wanted to show you guys where he's at real quick. Let me show you this real quick. On this guy, on this server, if I were to trace over to Werewolf, trace route, Werewolf, that's going to go to 192.168.200.25. That's the Werewolf server. Well, let's ping him real quick. Ping www. Werewolf. Werewolf, right? He's my internal system. But then I want to trace the route over to him. This server, my server here that sits at 192.168.11.245 should be going and being redirected through my router internally, 192.168.11.1, and then that should bump over to 192.168.11.160 and then get a response from Werewolf. So look, even when I was pinging, I was getting redirects. But let's trace the route over there. And it says, okay, yeah, we had to go here first, internally in the network. That bounced over to C router. That's the server I just showed you guys. It's just cleverly called C router. And then it got over there. All right, hold on. I'm missing stuff real quick. What did I miss? Hold on. So, Alpha Vic Charlie, what do you need besides sysadmin stuff to get a job like this? Can I understand the terms of AI like training, parameters, tokens, but I need to get good at Linux sysadmin before learning. No, so Alpha Victor Charlie, you could jump right over. Like let's say your passion in life is to be if your passion in life, guys, is to just be doing AI stuff or data science stuff, like, please believe you can just jump right over into that. I mean, that stuff is easier to get into if you have like an engineering degree, obviously, like maybe a bachelor's in something related. But that being said, you can work and prove and get good at that. There's tools out there, right? You don't need Linux to get into that. But Alpha Charlie said, okay, did I miss things? Apologize, but I had to answer my question. What do you need besides sysadmin stuff to get a job these days? So for me, I'm trying to get people more doing Linux, right? Like really at the end of the day, I really want people around that are hoping to do more Linux professionally. But Linux is also just a great jumping off point for all those other things. Like if you want to do AI stuff, use Linux to do the AI stuff, right? If you, like, not everybody has to be a sysadmin in the Linux world, if that makes sense. You could, I know all kinds of guys who have PhDs, bioinformatics, they're fucking brilliant. They can do all the Python and Perl, and I could show you guys all kinds of cool Python stuff around that, like BioPython and BioPerl. There's some really cool stuff. But that being said, they need to come to me to do a lot of the Linux stuff because they're like, I just don't understand these permissions, or I don't do that much. And I say, that's fine. You know, they don't need to be good at that. That's not what they do. They just use Linux as like a daily driver, if that kind of makes sense. It's almost like I'm much more like the mechanic to Linux for them, and then they're doing whatever specialty stuff they want on top. But again, it's all just technology stuff, right? Like, I mean, could I pivot over? I'm an amateur data scientist. I could probably be a pro one if I wanted to, right? But I'd have to go spend more time with it. I do it for fun. So actually, yeah, I am loyal to XCPN. I'm lazy. XCPNG works good. That's what the problem is. Yeah, and ISOBU, that's true. You could be doing everything and still not get the job. And that's one of the things about this is there's that old saying about like luck favors the prepared. We can't. One, I don't even believe in luck. But let's say I did. Let's say that you're not ready and you're not working on Linux and not doing stuff to get better, and then a job comes along and you're not ready for it. Well, in my mind, I'd rather just be ready and hopefully fall into the job, if that kind of makes sense. So, yeah, Alpha Victor Charlie, if you're hanging out and like Linux is the life for you, this is what we do around here, right? Like try to make people better at it. So you guys don't have to. But anyways, yeah, I don't. Like I tell people, you don't have to lie to kick it, right? You don't have to pretend to love Linux. It's just, I mean, I don't even care if people hang out that are Windows lovers. It's just hang out and do systems work and get better at it and figure that kind of stuff out, right? Yeah, Shunya, the AI things I've been staying away from. I've just been focusing on a lot of security and Linux lately. But yeah, the AI stuff moves fast. It's a fast. there's targets, there's terminology, like even some of that token stuff that you were talking about. I never heard anybody talk about that 3 years ago, right? But now it's all over the place, and it's just like, be good at what you do, and then also, people still need this low level stuff. People are always going to need the Linux stuff. I mean, maybe in the next 10 years they'll develop a little bot that can just fix systems, but I just haven't seen anything like that yet, right? AI is the new JS of the tech world. That's funny. Yeah, the things that I can intelligently speak to are, systems work, how we integrate our systems with, how do we integrate with the business, because I do that a lot. How do we secure systems and then report that back to people, that kind of stuff. Like that's the kind of stuff that I'm, if you wanted to say, specialized in. I also specialize in training engineers because I've been doing that at the college level for a long time. And the specialization in teaching engineering, to me, is just the ability to break things down into their smallest, simplest components, right? Why is this thing sitting where it's sitting? What is the benefit of doing this thing? And when we can kind of like pick something up and hold it in our hand, that makes us better, I think, as engineers. If that kind of makes sense. So I have a talk on that, actually, that I did in August. Speaking of, the Professional Linux Users Group will be 11 this year. Well, we're saying officially its birthday is in August. I want to say August 5th is officially its birthday or something, but we'll be 11 this year. It'll be our 6th year on Discord, right? And I'm going to have some of the guys come and be speakers again. We had a lot of speakers last year. People came out. We had like hundreds of people sitting down there chilling with different speakers over the days. And I thought we had a lot of fun. And I'm going to get more of those guys to come out and talk to you guys again. That'll be in August. We'll do that in August sometime. Typically, we do it a Saturday and a Sunday. And I'll get some of the guys, like, just not the movers and shakers, but like the people that are doing this professionally, their kind of thoughts on who they hire. Like, I have a lot of guys who hire people, right? And they're like, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and this is what I don't like. And obviously that's one person's, look at something, but it's still very valuable to kind of know. Alfred Charles said, where was Prologue before this? Oh, yeah. We ran it out of my house for a long time, Alpha Victor Charlie. I've been doing Linux a long time, and then we just used to meet at my house on Saturdays, back when I was a bachelor before I got married. And the guys would just meet up. We'd hang out on Saturdays. I'd get everybody pizza, and then we would just, we'd just hang out and do Linux all night on our laptops. And I had a server back then, and we would do Linux on it and just kind of hang out, and it was fun. It was a good time. Sometimes we watch stuff. I had people, like some of my buddies would bring their teenage kids by, and I would show them around Linux, and some of them were working on Cisco stuff, so I would show them CCNA type stuff, and I've been teaching that the whole time too, because I got my CCNA like 20 something years ago now, right? So 22 years ago now. So I teach that as well, but I would show them that, and we just kind of hang out, and that's what the Professional Linux Users Group's always been, is just that. Oh, let me show you guys this link. I'm gonna pop this up because I didn't even realize that it wasn't up there. Let me pop it in here. There is a course that the guys have been putting together. So this is the book right here. This is the free book for the course right here. You guys just got that link on the YouTube side or the Twitch side. I'll drop it on the YouTube side real quick. Hold on. If people want it, this is the free book. This is the book that goes with the Linux Systems Admin course. And the guys spent a lot of time on this. They're still working on it. There's actually a group of writers that will be contributors to the book. So if you guys want to get involved and be a contributor, they completely control this repository, by the way. I don't control this repository. One of our newer guys controls the repository. Oh, wait. I might have started the repository now that I think about it. Maybe I do control it, but he's got full admin, so they're running this completely themselves. And if you said, Scott, like, I want to get involved, I want to learn some of that stuff and do that, you could definitely do that. These guys did a really good job with the book. Like, it's what is the course about? What is week 1 about? What are you learning here, right? And then There's a worksheet, and this is from the worksheet. They threw on the course that I recorded for it, and then they have, you know, the discussion posts and all the different stuff that you're doing. And then there's a big old lab, right? This was the lab that I made you do, and they added more to it, which I think is awesome, right? And then they added a bonus. So there's even more stuff that you can go work on and do. Like I would say if you did everything in this book, it's probably 10 plus hours a week of work. So you've got, you know, when this, and I think they're still working on it because I think they only got up to Unit 4 so far. But there's a lot of stuff getting added in here, and they're adding more material and more material as they kind of go. So this is one of the free books that are being kind of given back. And again, the difference between this and just going and doing labs online is like the labs online are they're the discrete tasks that an admin needs to know. Like I need to know how to turn a server on. I need to know how to add NFS and mount and all that kind of stuff. Sure. But this course is about some of that, but mostly how we interact with the business. So, all right. Yeah, you guys are, and you guys, I'm a big fan of any time you guys start working on stuff without me, because I've said this for the longest time in our Linux group. Like, this is not the Scott show. Like, oh, yeah, sure, this is the Scott show. The Twitch here is the Scott show, sure. But the professional Linux users group should run without me. Like, the guys should be able to, you know, and obviously within a certain amount of control, people should be able to make events and do stuff. And like one of our guys just started doing a really awesome, everybody's going to get together and build like a open source little hardware project that they're doing. So they're doing that. And then some of you guys are building this book, right? That's a part of the, I didn't come up with the idea for this book. The guys did, right? So boom, there you go. There's going to be a book like this for, by the way, this is just the LAC. There's a PSC as well. Is it PSC? No, hold on. Let me just go here. Let me just go to the GitHub here. There is, if I just go to our base one. Nope. Where is that? Hold on. They got it in here somewhere. Here's the repository. All right. Let me go look in the repository. Here's so LAC. And then if I were to go up one, here's the other course. So when we do the professional Linux users group, the security course is here, and we're still building this, right? So there you go. Leith is here. What? I'm on super early. Yeah. I am on early. We're just kind of doing what's it called? Kind of co-working. I'm working on other stuff. I'm actually working right now on other screens that you guys don't see, but we think you're gonna like it here. Yeah. So again, there's stuff going on. Where's our repositories? Yeah, boom. These are the things that the guys are putting together. If you guys haven't been involved with that and want to be, right? Because again, I just think like if you've got nothing else on your resume, at least having something on there that shows your, you know, doing Linux or getting involved with groups or something like that is probably going to be good. I think it's going to be valuable for you guys. So, yeah. And on the left side, on my Twitch side of things, Twitch is on the left and YouTube's on the right. On the Twitch side of things, it keeps telling you guys about this stuff. So, like if I just posted some of these down on the right, it would look like this. Like we've got a security course coming up on 22nd of March. You just got to go get down in the Discord. Let me go find the Discord link. I'll go link that on the YouTube side as well. And you guys are welcome to hang out down there. And what, we're like 3,600. I think we're almost at 3,700. Soon I'm going to change that little ticker across the bottom to just say around 4,000. It's like I'm claiming it before we get there, but I'm saying around 4,000, right? That's like an engineer telling you something and going, well, but your mileage may vary. YMMV is like one of, you know, engineers' favorite. It's maybe the best throw off I've ever seen. So there we go. I think Head is being kind to Asian. That's funny. Oh, because I'm on earlier. Yeah. So you guys can get on here for sure. Yeah, and we're just, look, I tell all the guys, this isn't the Scott show. This is supposed to be about you guys and getting better at this stuff. Here's the kind of things that we focused on during the course. I don't even think we hit all of these things. This was just my original notes. But we mostly hit a lot of this stuff. I would like to keep adding more, but time, and we only have so much time. We only have so much time, right? That's the trade off. My economics friends would tell you, everything's a trade off. Everything's a cost weighed against what we call a opportunity cost, right? You could be doing this, or you could be watching Netflix right now, which is funny because I don't ever let that choice get in the way. I'll watch Netflix while I work, right? Because I can do things and automate things and run stuff or whatever. But that's also, that's a certain level of comfort you need to be in your systems to be able to do that, right? Xenia getting in the meetups is helping you. That's funny. I like that. Oh yeah, Malvi. I tell people, go from here. Malvee, guys. It's not Moby. This thing is like my text to speech will make you guys think I don't know anything, but I would tell you, yeah, go find something interesting, especially if you can study while you're watching something. Right? Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can read and have something visual. Some people hate subtitles. Some people don't. Just find something that's interesting. Oh, by the way, what happened to my system here? Hammer 9 is trying to do some install. That's weird. I wonder if somebody logged in there. So we can go dig in and see what's going on here. But yeah, I'm going to get all the authentication and stuff for you guys to be able to get in there and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's what we do around here. Also, we just hit an hour. I'm going to take a break real quick. Hold on. Let me pull up a little hourglass here. See if I can get hourglass to pop up there. Boom. Hourglass. Hourglass can be up here. And we'll say, take a break. Take a break and get some water. Boom. All right. Pop that up there. You guys feel free to hang out. Leith, it's funny that your name is 2. I'll be back. Go wander around a little bit. Look for the grandbaby. The grandbaby's here somewhere. He's down here somewhere. I keep hearing him. How's stream going? Could you guys hear me yelling down there? I was definitely yelling downstairs. I need a second. I need some AAA batteries. I need a bag to drop them down in. 1 second here, guys. Or a few seconds. I had plastic bags all over in my office here, and now I don't have any. The wife likes to confiscate my stuff. Oh shoot, where's this? Alright, I don't see it. Oh, there's one. Alright. I'll be back. All right. I just had to drop 3 batteries downstairs for the wife, so I wanted to put them in a bag, right? Because what kind of savage would I be to just throw a bag or a bunch of batteries at my wife? That'd be no good. But she asked me to throw them down, so. All right, now I got a drink and go back to co-working. Yeah, the kid's great. Yeah, the grandkid's great. We might catch him if we were to go to Ranger Cam. We might catch. Nope, Ranger's wandering around. Ranger's over there, meaning he's getting some kind of treat from somebody. Ranger was just laying down here when I went downstairs, though. But, alright. We'll check on that stuff later. Alright. Yeah, guys, I used to run my own internal GitLab. Where's that? Do I still have the server up? Hold on. I think. Does it still exist? Let me go look. Yeah, I still have the GitLab server up. Oh, I guess you guys can't see that. Hold on. Get rid of the hourglass. Turn on XCPNG. Transition that over. Yeah. Yeah, I have a GitLab box I used to run, and then everything was just tied to it in my lab, and I would just push stuff up. When I first started streaming, I used to do that. But he's turned off now. I don't really use them anymore. I push some stuff up to Git on the normal GitHub stuff. Ah, GitHub Basic, yeah. You can just say it. Shani. I don't think Twitch will block that word. It might. Oh, Alpha Victor Charlie, you asked me, or ABC, you asked me about the timer. Oh, it's a little tool called Hourglass. Found it a long time ago. It's a little app on the old. I don't even know. I just found it online one day. Yeah, it's really good. It's called Hourglass. It's actually surprisingly like I can. Let me see if it'll show you guys the configuration, because you can go into. No, I don't want to update it. Oh, so there's newer versions of it, but you can come here. Where's he at? Ah, yeah, here we go. There's a bunch of advanced options, right? Where, oh, is that not popping up on the screen for you guys? No, that's not popping up on the screen for you guys, sorry. There's a bunch of options, and there's different save timers and inputs and themes, and I wonder if I can actually run this. Like I could make it blue if I wanted. How is that? Where'd that go? Theme. I've typically kept it at green as my theme, but you can change it to different colors or whatever. So yeah, it's a fun little tool. It works well. And then it beeps at the end, but I turned it off before it beeps, so you guys didn't get to hear that. Yeah, I could run. I mean, I could. There's any number of timers I've seen built inside of Bash terminals and stuff. We could run a timer. One of the things I used to run on stream sometimes was, where was I doing that? it was here. I had a couple of while loops. Yeah, I was running stuff like this for you guys. It's just something to keep on the screen, something that it's showing stuff that's valuable to know and things that's good to kind of look at on an interface and on a system, but not like super interesting over time. It's just kind of a nice little set of tools. And then if you were like, hey, how are you looking at those retransmits, or what are you know, what might that work, then we could talk about that or whatever. So I used to just kind of show this sometimes, whether the device is doing, what are the reads per second, and that kind of, just more stuff to know. I'll link you guys to Discord again. No, you guys are good over on the YouTube side. All right. So yeah, as usual, we're just kind of hanging out. I'm co-working right now, so I'm working on different screens and kind of hanging out and talking to you guys while I'm getting some of my other stuff done. Interesting. Hold on, guys. Sorry, I had to stop talking. I was texting one of our guys. Well, I was messaging him on LinkedIn, but seeing if he was interested in doing some side work. That I got asked by one of my buddies who works for a consulting firm, and was asking about AWS people that know AWS well for some side or contract work. Alpha Victor Charlie, there's a few commands running over here. I kind of cheated. Oh, that one's funny. So what's happening actually, I'll link it to you guys. It looks like this. It's the simplest of... Oh, sorry guys, I moved the mic away from my face when I don't know what I was doing. You guys should be able to hear me better now. I had this far away from me, but man, why is that stupid thing? I need to turn that stupid thing off. But anyways, there's the command that I'm doing over here. So the while true just loops forever. There's some sleeps in there that are doing whatever. And then I'm just reviewing different stuff in the system. And then I think I catted out that file to show you guys, like, that was a thing that we were talking about the other night. And I forgot that was even in there, but I'll show it to you guys when it comes up again. It's this idea that when I build a high-performance compute system and secure it, these are some of the things that most of the time we have to have exceptions for. And then those exceptions are applied against the STIGs because for... You guys have heard me say this, the saying or the phrase that security is the enemy of productivity. It's the idea that, well, we can lock a system down so much that nothing ever works. That's actually easy to do. But there's some things that we might have to back off on a little bit. Like, I can't use grub passwords on stateless nodes because we're not using grub. So that's kind of like a reason. No, Hayes, actually, I run a microphone that I learned about when I was teaching at the college. It's one of my favorite microphones ever. Let me tell you guys about this microphone. I've shown it on stream before, and some of you guys have seen it. It's just a little blue Yeti. They're like $110. You can get them. You can get the blue Yetis when they're like on sale for like sometimes like $70 or $80. So they're not super expensive. But as far as microphones go, they are pretty mid-range. That's even maybe categorized as low range for a microphone, right? Like $110 is not that much if you're talking all the time and on calls and stuff like that for work, right? That's not that much. Oh, almost 200 in India. That's a little higher. Yeah, AVC. That's a little higher. But for us out here on Amazon, I can get it for about 110. I want to say I've seen them as low as 80 on sale sometimes. But Blue Yeti is the brand. If you guys ever want to look it up, they don't have to be blue. Mine happens to be blue. But the reason I picked this microphone up is we used it at the college for a little bit at DeVry, and it was right before COVID hit, and we were starting right before COVID hit. We were doing this thing. It's a newer modality of teaching. Modality is like a method, right? This is another way of saying method, but trying to sound smart because you're out of college, right? But anyways, it's anyways, it's a newer modality. And what happened is I would speak on this, and I would have students in the classroom, and I would have students online. Right? It was called On Live. So I'm online and I'm live with my students. And the reason I like this microphone so much, is when I would look at the recordings later and I would ask a question to the class and somebody in the class would answer, I could hear what they were saying with just this little Blue Yeti microphone. So then when I found out that they were only like $110 or whatever, it was pretty cheap. It was like a no-brainer for me. So, yeah. All right. Got a Shure headset that you use when you stream music. Simple 40 USB mic for normal streaming. You know what's funny, Hayes, is I only ever used a headset when I used to game. I've never had a head. You guys have never seen me wear a headset when I stream. Like, I guess I didn't care so much about like the feedback. Whatever I'm listening to or whatever. 50 on the mic all the way to go 200 basically. Yeah. So Rizushi, a lot of times with anything, like I will look at. That's funny what it thinks I'm saying as your name, but a lot of times I'll just do I'll look at things as kind of like the low end, the things you can get for $5 or $10 that are probably going to break and not be very good, and then I look at like the mid range as like somewhere between that and whatever the like elite. I've seen microphones out there that are like $1,000 that are still what most people would consider reasonable, and I'm like, man, that's a bit more than I'm willing to spend on a stream that's not, not really like, we're not like a super popular stream, in case you guys don't know. It's not, the wife's okay with me. I've gotten approval to buy a lot of equipment for the stream and stuff, but that's because I was running the pro group, the professional Linux user group for a long time. Yeah, it thinks I'm saying Rizushi. It's like it's like we're like you're some anime character or something. So yeah. And technically, I mean, for me, I spend enough time on like work calls and stuff. Yeah. But yeah, if you don't have people that are paying you, it's actually funny, Hayes. My wife a few years back, she went to a course. There was like a Groupon coupon for her and her buddies, her and a couple of the girlfriends that she has, and they went to basically like because she wanted to get more into like voice acting. She wanted to kind of mess around with it. Yeah, bedroom producer ain't got. Yeah, that's 100% true. 100% true. Yeah, bedroom producer ain't got no paying clients. Fair. But the wife was like, okay, hey, she comes to me and she's like, Scott, can I do this other course? They've got this course and they thought that I'd be good for it. And I'm like, of course they did. That's what the Groupon's for, and that's like $1,700, or it might have been like $1,800. And I was like, I mean, all right, if you want to do it. And she's like, it ends with some studio time and I get to have like some recorded tracks and this. So for her voice. And I was like, well, that's fine. Yeah, obviously. Do whatever you want. And she's like, yeah, maybe I'll do some stuff with this. And I think like anymore nowadays, like you'll probably get more use out of just going and like, if you want to be a voice actor, just go start reading shit online, right? Like just start streaming and just reading books online that are public domain. I think that would probably, at least get you out there more. But anyway, so the wife did that, never really did anything else with it or whatever. But I told her, I was like, if you ever want to start doing that, you could use my microphone setup. I've got a fair amount of stuff, at least to just get things recorded. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but yeah. Oh, and then somebody asked, I think somebody said earlier, I don't know if I saw it. Hold on, I don't want to scroll up, but it was something to do with, if you guys are wondering how I'm doing the closed captioning, because people always wonder, like, how does he do that closed captioning? That's simply just PowerPoint in presentation mode. Your PowerPoint has a pretty good, if you're using PowerPoint, if you have that, I have that through the college, so I'm pretty sure I have it through. I don't even know how I have PowerPoint anymore. I just have it, and I can run that, and it'll just sit there and do text to speech for me. So it's kind of nice. Yeah. On Ubuntu you don't have PowerPoint, but you should still have like when I present things and give out, because I give out the presentations all the time, and sometimes I'll do them in PDF so people can just read them, and then sometimes I'll put them in PowerPoint, and then you guys can use the what's that Apache project you guys love? Open Office. It used to be Open Office, but I think it's LibreOffice now, right? I used LibreOffice all through college. I was on Ubuntu all through college, so yeah. But you guys will find that I don't, I'm not exclusive to any one technology in general. I will do whatever it takes to get the work done. Yeah, all that other stuff. It doesn't matter to me what I'm using to get to the technology. Yeah, Colchis. I think that's one of the most tools be tools. I think that's one of the most I almost want to say like the most senior engineering thing that I find. Like the people who are overly focused on like using their VI and Vim and how their stuff's set up. Sure, it's wonderful, but like you can't train other people to do that because they have to do it exactly like you. So that's weird. Anytime you switch environments, you take 4 weeks to set it all up, and that's weird. Like I don't know. I don't like the senior people that I know, all the people that I like respect in the engineering world that I've worked with. They have very little care of the tooling that they're on to get to what they need to. Like for me, as long as like people are always like, you're on Putty, I'm like, yeah, Putty gets me to a command line. I do whatever I want once I get in a command line. It doesn't matter how you throw me in the briar patch, right? If I'm the Brer Rabbit, it's spelled that wrong. It's BRER Rabbit. He's the Brer Rabbit being thrown in the briar patch. I know that because I have a grandbaby. Capnemo.in. He has some good monitoring security home lab stuff. How you check it out? That's funny. I like that. Yeah, if things worked out for me, I wouldn't be in tech. I like that. That's actually really funny. I would be in tech just because I enjoy this, and often I sit around and wonder, like, people are going to pay me this much to do this stuff, like the same stuff I would normally be doing for fun with my friends, like on a Saturday night when we used to just get pizza and hang out and do Linux all the time, and they're going to pay me a whole bunch of money to do that. I always thought that was kind of fun. So that's why I try to show you guys how to do this stuff, because I think that most of you guys can do it. You don't need degrees to get into this. Degrees help. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm a college man. I'll tell you, like if you said, Scott, step back and tell me like your whole philosophy on everything that you've seen, I'd say, well, I have read plenty of things, and I have seen plenty in my 43 years of life that I agree with, where if you said, what's the one most important thing to move from like a lower economic stratosphere up to maybe a higher one, education's the number one thing. Getting a college degree is an indicator, like across the board, of if you're going to go to prison one day, if you're going to, like, there's all these things, right? Now, just because it's an indicator doesn't mean that it says for sure, but it's one of these things where, like, when you look at numbers, like statistically, like the best thing you can do to get out of like poverty, and I came from poverty, guys. I could tell you all about that, right? But being that, I think that that's great. But if you're not going to do that, right? Because not everybody's going to go to college. I'm not trying to sign you guys up for college here. So if you're not going to go to college, the next best thing is to start building the skills, right? Because not everybody can afford to get certificates, right? And certifications. Not everybody can afford to go spend 4 years in the Army like I did, right? Like join the Army when you know everything, and then get out when you realize you don't know everything, and you'd rather just go back and finish stuff, right? So, Grandpa at 43. Yeah, I got married. When did we get married? She has a son, so but we got married, and I think I was like 37. But we've known each other since my early 20s. So yeah. And look, not everybody's going to go to college now, and I tell people you don't have to. But that's one more positive differentiator for some people on a certificate, right? Like, and that's the thing is like, There's this old joke. Well, I can't tell that joke online. Just hit me up sometime on Discord if you guys want to hear the joke that's inappropriate. But suffice it to say, like, you only have to pull out enough to beat somebody, like in any of this stuff. But when I talk about a positive differentiator, what I'm saying is on your resume, you want as many good things as you can, so that when people have to make a discussion, when they have to cut, they've got one or two positions and they've got 10 people, and they're going to go down, and they like, maybe they talk to you guys and they like all of you. They think you're all okay. They have to make a decision at one point. And one of the things might be, do they have a Red Hat cert? And they chop and 8 people go away and they only have the 2, and they have 2 people that they now like and met whatever requirement they have, and then that certification got you the job, right? In some cases, when I worked at Lockheed Martin would not hire you unless you had a bachelor's degree in engineering. I have a bachelor's of science in network engineering and then a master's at the time in business administration. So they were like, all right, we'll hire this guy. They wouldn't have hired me. I wouldn't even have been in the running if I didn't have that master's, even though it wasn't in engineering. Later on, when I went to become a senior engineer with them after I'd been with them a few years, I had to actually go get a second master's. That's why I have a master's in information systems management. That was considered an engineering master's. That's a different thing though, right? Like that is like hard requirements for a company, right? But a lot of companies don't have that. Just getting into Linux world, working for a school district or something, they'll ask for a degree, but they can't require it. They're not paying as much as like most people would get with a degree, right? So it's one of these things where there's like a little bit of a trade-off there. And guys, when I first got out of the Army, I looked really hard to get a networking job, and I could not get a networking job. And then I went and worked at a school district I was called a LAN, local area network technician. And I moved, and then after I did that for a while, I moved over to a LAN 2, and then I really was using my CCNA and really doing stuff. But it took me a while to get over there, right? Like, I think about a year. And I was going to college at the time, right? Like getting that first bachelor's or whatever. But the point is, like, I don't think you need a degree to get into this stuff. I know plenty of people who have gotten into this without a degree. In fact, one of my brothers did it, and he is a senior OpenShift guy. He's working for a company, and just about a month ago, he started doing contract work on the side for another company. And then my other brother, he got into data science, and man, they really made him fucking work for it. My brother barely got into that a couple years ago, and he had a bachelor's degree, and they just mostly ignored him because they were like, if you don't have SQL on your resume, we're not taking you in. And then he finally got in. Now he's almost got, I think he said he's got just a capstone for his master's right now in system, or in he does data analytics stuff, right? So so how you pick a good wife, narrow it down 10 and choose the ones. Yeah. I would advise finding a good wife is around, I think finding somebody that focuses on the same things as you. Like, my wife's got a big family, and she's a big fan of having a big family. So, like, we're very involved. I have 4 brothers, so I have a pretty big family. And then she's got 4 siblings, so she's got a pretty good-sized family. And then we've got, I think, like 21 or 22 nieces and nephews. I'd have to count them up. I always forget. But anyways, I know you're kidding, ex-Shunya, but all right. So what are we doing here? We're not really doing much. We're just kind of hanging out. Oh, I should probably turn this back on so it's rotating. Building stuff for the labs. Yep. We got about 10 days until we start the Linux sysadmin course over again. So people that want to get involved with that, that's going to be there. Alpha Victor Charlie, trying to repair your 10-year-old laptop so you can have a 24/7 Linux system at home. You want to get into Grafana? Yeah, Grafana's... So, Alpha Victor Charlie, you can get into Grafana without a separate laptop. You want to see something cool? I'll show you guys something cool. You can go to grafana.com. You just go in here. And they have a plan. I've been on this plan. I haven't really used it much, but I've been on this plan for the last 3 years. They've never once charged me anything. So you could, like, let's say you just have a Windows box at home. Let's just say you're running a Windows shop at home. That's fine. They have a Grafana Cloud free tier. You get 10,000 series of Prometheus metrics. You get 50 gigs of logs, traces. You could set your system up to send data up there, and it says right here, put the credit card away. They've never asked me for anything, but I could go right in there. I can actually log in. I think mine's just federated off of my Google, right? And it's free. They've never charged me for anything, but you can go start building Grafana right now if you wanted. Oh yeah, here I'll link it to you. It's grafana.com, right there. Completely free. You can get in there and start building stuff, and you can start to put stuff. There's all kinds of things that you can put on your local, even Windows instance that will send data into Prometheus. Yeah. If you didn't know that, that's out there. Yeah, like I tell you guys, the barrier of entry, a lot of this stuff, it used to be, and I say this jokingly, but it's true. Somebody used to throw you a CD back in the day and say, "Go build some Linux. We'll talk next week." And if you couldn't build Linux, you couldn't be a Linux guy. That was it. You could go be a network guy. You could go be a Windows guy, but you were not going to be a Linux guy. This was 20 plus years ago. Nowadays, like we have, Killer Coda will drop you in a shell right now. Grafana, you don't have to build Grafana out to use it. They've got a tier of it that you can go play with it. And you might say, well, how actually useful is it to get involved with this? Well, what if you find a company? What if you go look on Dice and somebody wants Grafana, and they say, hey, we're running Grafana Cloud, and you're like, oh, I remember setting that up, and then now you're talking to them about things that they know about. And then you say, well, what did you guys do with your logs? How did you get that logging stuff? And then now you're talking back and forth, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, I like working with this guy. This is the type of guy we need on the team. And the next thing you know, now you're the, doing whatever. So this is life for us, right? This is what we do. So yeah, I have some stuff being sent up to Grafana, I think actually out of my AWS account. I don't really use that much, so I don't go in there very much. Because I have all my own. I have 2 instances of Grafana in my home lab for different reasons, right? So, yeah, you guys can go in there and play with all kinds of stuff. In fact, I highly encourage it. It's free $99, which is the best price of anything. Free $99. Free. Yeah, it's free $99. Doesn't cost you nothing. And that's, I do think there's some value to, like, when you spend some money on something, then you have to go get your money's worth out of it. But I also think there's some value to, like, you saying, hey, that's a good tool. I really think that I would like to build it, but you don't have the infrastructure to build it, so you just go build it out in the cloud and you get used to it that way. Because I'm going to be honest, most companies are probably using something like that. They're probably just using Grafana up in the cloud, or there's actually a Grafana instance you can get up in AWS. You don't even have to run your own server if you don't want for it. Right? You don't have to be like me running Grafana on my own thing. No, Razushi, we were talking about Grafana a little bit, and I was just showing that there's Grafana here, and you guys can go play with it for free. Right? You don't have to. Gone are the days of us having to spend a bunch of time. Like, gone are the days of us having to spend a bunch of time doing this. Hold on. Let me see something. Can I? Oh. Yeah, no. So we're just looking at Grafana and messing around. Not working super hard. A little bit of security stuff on the right. We're watching some real-time statistics about my system, and then I have like a simple explanation of what you might use for high-performance compute STIGs. That's an example that you might do. I can make that longer. Watch this. I can make it sit there longer if people wanted it. Like, let's change it to like 20. Yeah, 25. Right? So it'll run through, and then it'll sit on that last one long enough to actually read it. So Alpha Victor Charlie said, what if, if Grafana's up in the cloud, where do I run Prometheus to collect metrics? Last it ran was using... Yeah, so Alpha Victor Charlie, now if you're going to do stuff up in the cloud like that, now you got to change the model a little bit. Prometheus is a slightly... let me think. Are Prometheus and Grafana... No, Prometheus is a different project than Grafana, pretty sure. So what you might have to do once you get inside of Grafana there, as far as the free lab, I think they have Graphite up there, and then you have to use a tool probably like Telegraph to send up to So you'd have to use something like Telegraph to send up to graphite. So you would change, in my case, let me pull this up for a second here. Where's that thing at? VS Code. Transition this over. So in this case, now that your Grafana over here on the right of this is, now that you got this Grafana over here and it's no longer local, it's now up in the cloud, your workflow here has to change, right? Your workflow in the middle of this needs to probably change to being up in the cloud as well, which is why they have like Graphite. Graphite's one of their time series databases, and what's another one? They have a different one too, but I think Mimir, Mimir. I think Mimir. I don't know how to say that word. Mimir. I think it's Mimir. But anyways, that is a tool that they have. So now you're focusing on all this stuff being up in the cloud, and then you're just looking at agents on your local system to send stuff out to the cloud. So now you got to think, okay, so now I'm sending data up out of the cloud. Now I got to think about, like, maybe is there some security here that I might do? And then you might think about maybe generating some certificates. They'll probably show you how to do that. I'm sure they've got a blog that shows you how to generate the certificate so you know you're sending to here. And then now you set your clients up to only send data to here. And I'm going to tell you right now, you know how to do that, right? You figured that out and you can put that on a resume. I've done certificate management for a monitoring tool. I understand X509 certificates and PKI infrastructure because you read some blog posts and actually implemented it. And then that makes you that much more valuable to a company, right? That's what all this stuff is about, is like making yourself more valuable to either a company or, look, I'm not telling you guys you have to go work. Like, I live in a capitalist country. You want to go you want to go start your own company and start consulting? All you have to do, the only thing you need to do to start consulting is know how to do stuff, right? Have the confidence to do this. Build this out, document it. We have like labs and things that we do in our professional Linux users group that help you guys learn how to document things. Be ready, and then look, I can't help you with the sales part, right? I'm not a sales guy, but learn how to do this stuff, and then you can go and I'm not telling you guys you have to work for anybody. You can fucking work for yourself, right? That's valuable. But I'm just telling you guys, like, the implementation of things are the things that we like to mess with, right? Yeah, imagine having to get government approval. Yeah, I mean look, like Hayes, yeah, I'm a big fan of my country. I'm a big fan of America. I've been overseas. I've been to war for my country, and I tell people all the time, man, you appreciate peace when you have been in a non-peaceful place, right? That's what I'll say about that. But anyways, yeah, so get in there if you guys want and mess around with, again, that's just one more tool to give you guys the skills you want. Again, mostly we focus on Linux around here, but monitoring is huge. You probably won't find a single job. If you go look up like Linux admin or Linux engineer, I could almost guarantee you there's two words that will 100% of the time show up. In fact, I'd be interested if there was any job that was ever posted that didn't have these two words. One is monitoring and one is troubleshooting. I can almost guarantee you those two words will show up on literally any of that stuff. Bottom half of the internet. Yeah. That is. I like that. I like the way the bottom half of the internet. I like putting it that way. I sometimes tell people, Hayes, you'll like this because you've been around the internet a long time. I think I first got on the internet in like 93 at a library when I was a kid. And I will tell people sometimes, like on social media, I'll be like, hey, I got on the internet in 93 and I'm logging off today now because I've read the stupidest effing thing whatever. Alpha Victor Charlie said X509 and PKI. I know that. That's yeah. Certificate authority stuff. Yeah. So Alpha Victor Charlie, certificates are used a lot of times. You probably know this if you know those terms. What we can do is we can, well, there's two things. First, we can verify that you are who you say you are. And then we can also have what's called non-repudiation, which is later on, you can't say it wasn't you, right? It has to be you. So I can only be talking to you. I can't be talking to anybody else that's like you. I'm only talking to you, and that's what certificates allow us to do. So yeah, X509 and PKI, you get some experience around that and setting up Grafana in the cloud with it, and you put that on your resume. And then you can talk to it. You got to be able to talk to it in the interview, right? I know there's been some talk in the Discord. People are like, just say whatever. And I'm not telling you guys you can't lie. I'm just telling you, for me, I will not have anything on my resume that I can't talk to, because I've been the guy, giving the technical interview, and I always look for the interesting thing, and then I ask about it, and somebody's like, I'm not really dangerously good at Python. And you're like, but you put that you were dangerously good on Python. That actually is a real one that actually came through. And it's like, so you're not actually dangerously good, you just thought it was cool to say. And then when somebody asks you like how you load a library, you didn't know that it was just import, like that kind of thing. That's not good. Guys, I don't know that much Python, but that's something I know how to do, right? I can import and verify that there's no freaking errors. Or if I do an import and there is an error, but I know it's on the server, what's the next thing I'm going to go check, right? Because I'm just going to sit there and pick at that. Like if somebody has something on their resume that's not. Yeah, Leith, did I never tell you that story? Me and there's a guy down in our Discord. He's one of our mods, Faint Calf. I know him IRL. And he and I were in an interview one time for a guy, and he put down that he was dangerously good at Python. Yeah. So we were like, that guy was dangerous. He was dastardly, right? Oh, yeah, Hayes, that's actually pretty cool. I did Perl for many years. I'm a big fan of Perl. But you were in the top 10 on PerlMonk. That's pretty good. In fact, Hayes, if you haven't been around, the only reason I stopped using Perl professionally was in 2016. I moved to a team. I was going to be the lead at AAA. And there was one other guy who was kind of like, he was like the de facto lead when I got there. His name's Jason. He's still around. He's down our Discord every now and then too. And he and I could do Perl. The rest of our team did not do Perl. And that's P-E-R-L. I know my thing's saying P-E-A-R-L, but it's P-E-R-L. Practical extraction and reporting language, right? But anyways, I think I said CSGO. What the? I never said CSGO. Anyway, so yeah, I was, you're down to 36 now. Yeah. So, I did all Perl for years. And then, he and I were talking one day, and, I was like, yeah, I noticed you write most of your stuff in Bash. And he goes, yeah, I do a fair amount in Bash, but I like Perl. And I said, I also do. And I have a lot of stuff that we can do in that. But we had like 6 or 7 juniors on the team, like junior Linux people. And we were talking about it, and we're like, well, but none of them know it. No fault of their own. They were just juniors. And we were like, well, we want to set them up for failure. We don't want to set them up for failure. We don't want to set our team up for failure. So what are we going to use? And he and I agreed. We're like, well, let's just do all Bash and Ansible then, because Bash will always be Bash. It'll always work. And then Ansible is the kind of was the future then in the early 2016. I mean, Ansible's been my baby. I started using it in like late 2013. I think it's great, but he and I did that because Perl, as awesome as it wasn't supportable by our team. So that's why I moved away from Perl. Can I still write it? Sure. I got a bunch of little snippets, and I've got things that are up in my disk. If you go root around in my GitHub, you'll find stuff that's written in Perl that I was just messing around with. But I actually used it professionally for things. I have a script up there somewhere if you guys want to find it where, what do I do in that script? It's called Deceptor. And what it is we were testing out, somebody got like a McAfee or something. I forget what it was. Some tool they wanted to bring in with antivirus on Linux. And most of us were very against it, because to turn antivirus on Linux, you actually have to lax the kernel security for it to be able to track things in real time. So what we wanted to do then was like run a set of servers with my little Deceptor script running, and then also run a set of servers that had that tool on it and my little Deceptor script running, just to see what would happen. And Deceptor turned on like every few seconds, and then it did like one of 6 things. It has a little random at the top, and then it just calls one of like 6 functions. It's the stupidest thing ever. And then it's either doing disk stuff. I said functions, not fungus. Maybe my brain's not working right. Anyways, now I can just solve a problem in Perl and have GPT port it to another language. Yeah, Hayes, that's probably good too. Hayes, do you remember? Were you around when there was God, I swear they were called like the wheelbarrow competitions or something. I forget what they were called, but you'll know what I'm talking about probably. But do you remember they used to have those competitions where it was like, can you do some sort or some filter of all this data in the lowest amount of characters possible? And the lowest amount of characters possible literally every time was always Pearl. And Pearl would be C. It would be like just like anybody could go and compete in these. They were just like little online things. And then I remember somewhere in the early 2010s, it like switched over to Ruby, and Ruby started winning. And I remember going, Ruby's gonna beat Pearl. And I know Ruby's still got its little niche right now, but it never like picked up as much as like because I remember those competitions, man. It was always to get to the smallest amount of characters we could. Yeah, trying to get to just the lowest number of characters you can to do solve a task, right? And I remember Pearl was always king. Every week when these would come out, Pearl was king. He was always on top. Whoever was writing them and working on them was always Pearl. And then there was just like this switch one day where it was like Ruby had been catching up and Ruby beat it. And then I remember people were like, "Well, this is the start of the end for Pearl," and it's like, "No, we're still going to use it." Some of us held out for a while, and then again, I stopped writing Pearl all the time when my team kind of, we had a bunch of juniors and we were like, how are we going to raise these juniors up to be good and to be able to support our stuff so we can have weekends off? Because, guys, at the end of the day, when you get good at this, you still need to make other people good at it. Otherwise, you're going to be on call all the time. And you say, yeah, but it's not my on-call rotation. Yeah, it is. They're going to call you. They're going to call it. Shunya, I think Hayes said it was called golfing. I couldn't remember what it was called. But that was around for years, man. Somebody would just post up a bunch of data and be like, all right, who can sort it down to the most discrete sets of this and this, and who can organize this so it's all the 3 characters, all the 4 characters, all the ones that have no numbers and the ones that do. There were all these like little rules, Shunya, and you would have to do it in the least amount of code possible. That was a kind of fun one. And I'm not a coder. I'll tell you guys. I've told you this whole time. I've never been a software engineer my whole career. I've always been a systems guy, but I mean, I can at least code a little bit for stuff that's fun, like. Averaging numbers in a file. Nice. Alpha Victor said, how do I get good at Bash? I don't use it daily. I need it every now and then, so I don't get that good. I have a few scripts. Alpha Victor Charlie, the one of the things I always tell you guys about getting better at any of this stuff is you got to touch it every day. So if you don't have a set of tasks to do in Bash, like I would just go find something that maybe challenge you a little bit. Go even, maybe even in Leet code or, sorry, I said Leet code. Fucking, because I saw that earlier. Go to Killer Coda, and then just find the different tasks that are on there and go work through them. Like I've got some Linux labs on there and stuff like that. And even if it's just like doing stuff and looking at the output, I think that it will help this stick with you. Yeah, and I always talk about like your fingers memory, right? Like I played piano since I was a kid, and there's songs that I like don't know how to play, but if I start them, I can play them. And you say, really? And I'm like, yeah, my fingers remember it. I don't remember it. It's the same kind of thing here. Like I think that some of this stuff, you just have to kind of know how to move around. Yeah, it's like a muscle memory. Yeah, or a battle drill if you want to think of it as battle drills. We talk about that in the Linux admin course. Like because you need to know. I always tell you guys this too. Like the right now, like nothing's going on like with my company right now. I'm hanging out with you guys and working on this other stuff, but I don't have an emergency right now. If there's an emergency, I need to know how to use all my tools, and I can't have anything in my tool belt that I don't know how to use, if that kind of makes sense. Yeah. So I want you guys to think of systems like that in that kind of sense. So all right. I do have a meeting here in about an hour, so I only have a little bit longer on here. I gotta answer a text real quick. All right. What's your nick on the or for action? Yeah, I think he's just E. I think I know that. What is that? Oh no. A friend who can sleep while balancing a shell over his head. Nice. All right. Let's close down that Grafana one just because that's kind of bright. All right. We got stuff going. I'm working in a different window on stuff, security stuff mostly. I got to go tomorrow. I won't be online at all. Well, I might be on tomorrow night. No, we got the grandbaby in town, so I probably won't be on tomorrow night or Friday. I'll at least hop on for an hour like I normally do. But tomorrow I'm going to be actually at a cancer clinic out here in the Phoenix area, and they have retained my company for a whole bunch of HPC stuff. So we're going out there to have a meeting with them. It's funny. We already had like. It's kind of like when I talk to a team, they're like, well, let's get everybody on site and let's like talk through this some more and we'll whiteboard and this and this. And I'm like, we can whiteboard an Excalidraw. I could get all of you guys right now, everybody watching. We could all be in the same Excalidraw right now, right? Like I could get all you guys in the same one. We could all be drawn on the same board. Like we don't physically need to go in the office anymore, really. But sometimes people like to meet everybody. So we're going to be doing some work with them. And a lot of times we get retained because of the security stuff that I do. And I show guys on my team how to do it. I show I show these other teams how to do it, but at the end of the day, they're still like, "Well, Scott, will you fill out all the reports?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll fill out all the reports." And they're paying me, so I mean, I guess that's fine. But all right, you know, sleep anywhere. Oh yeah. Rizushi, I fell asleep one time in the back of a Bradley. Well, I fell asleep all the time in the back of a Bradley. Don't get me wrong, but I had my helmet was resting on the muzzle of my rifle, and then I kind of fell asleep and it slid up into my helmet. And I remember thinking, I'm like, man, if this rifle went off, it would probably go around the helmet, probably just kind of give me a pretty good like road rash, really good burn, and then go out the back, you know, probably hit me somewhere around the shoulder. Wouldn't have too much energy left in it, but it would still be really annoying. But yeah, just because you mentioned falling asleep anywhere, yeah, I fell asleep in Bradley's, and I'm pretty sure back of a Bradley's like 110 decibels. Um, it's definitely high enough sound to damage hearing and eardrums and stuff. So, all right. Anyways, where are we at? We're just kind of co-working, not working too hard. Trying to keep the I just kind of feel like I'm just the one out telling people about the ProLug group, right? Like I'm like the one with the light on telling people, hey, get in here before the door closes, you know. That's the whole reason, like I've been saying this since the beginning, that's the whole reason I stream, is to just get people down in the Discord so they can go hang out with other engineers talking the talk, right? Letting you guys know there's a place to go hang out. This is what we do. You still have to have some experience making PPA. So Alpha Victor Charlie, in the enterprise side of things, I don't think it's very valuable to know how to make your own package. Well, let me back up. Let me explain a couple things. If you build things, right? Like somebody asked the other day about building kernels. I've built kernels in labs. I haven't done that in a long time, but there's no value in the average engineer's day in doing that, unless what you do is build kernels for, I don't know, like for open source reasons or for fun. But for a company wants stability, right? They don't want you in there baking your own stuff. And if you are baking your own stuff, you got to remember you're immediately breaking all agreements with a company that's supporting you. So you can't do any of that. But back to the point of like making your own packages. There are reasons why we do build our own packages. So, like I work in high performance compute, and high performance compute is almost always air gapped. So, what does that mean? That means when I want to bring stuff in, I either have to bring it in through one of my staging nodes, or I have to give it to security, and they're going to scan it, and then I'm going to have maybe let's say I have the all the documentation, all the build configure, all the stuff we need for maybe a new version of Slurm. The Slurm is a tool that you can get online, right? And Slurm is open source and whatever, but your company is only going to use, but you can pay for support through SkedgeMD that builds it, and that's what a lot of companies do. But maybe I bring it in and I build it on one of my machines, and then I know that machine type goes across like 1,500 other machines. So then I build that into an RPM package on one machine, and I use that RPM package that I built to push everywhere. And you say, well, why would you want to build it like that? Well, because otherwise, if I'm building it from source and doing a bunch of make and all this other stuff, let's say I have like 4 different types of servers with different types of drivers, and hopefully I have the same kernel on all of them, but I would need to make 4 packages, and then when I go to do my deploy, I would put the RPM on the type of server for each type. So in my Ansible code, I would check for certain things, and then I would push the right version in a block, and I would only deploy the version that worked for that type of server, right? But for the most part, yeah, we wouldn't, if they had a method for doing that already, I wouldn't want to reinvent the wheel. So I wouldn't probably build packages. But sometimes, like especially like InfiniBand drivers are like this. There's this tool called OFED, right? OFED is how your InfiniBand drivers, it's a tool called MoFed, gets built into your systems. And that has to be built for each kernel. So let's say you have like 2 different types of kernels in your air-gapped environment. You bring that down, you build it. There's 2 ways you can do it now. You can build it on each machine and spend about 20 minutes per machine, or you build the RPM on one machine, push it out, and the install is about like 45 seconds or something, right? And then you have to make that decision. And I've actually, on a cluster before, had a cluster that was about 1,260 nodes, and I had, it was 1,260 nodes. No, 1,200, whatever. That thing can't do it. 1260, I don't know. There we go, 1,260. Don't you do it again. What? That's not a number. All right. I'm mad at my closed captioning again. But anyways, where I'm going with that is I chose in that cluster to build every time. And you say, why? It was a Franken cluster. There were too many old things that existed. And I was not going to be in the business of enumerating all of those old things and then building a package for what might have been like 3 nodes hanging on from 5 years ago. I said, F it. We'll just do more in parallel. And all the processing's happening on those nodes, I'll just lose 20 minutes. But 20 minutes in the update of all servers is nothing. If I can spend 20 minutes across a cluster of 1,200 servers, obviously we're doing these in parallel, that's still better than the time it would have taken me to go build all the one-offs, if that makes sense. So where I'm going with that, AVP, is you don't need to have experience building your own packages, but sometimes you will build your own packages. Most of the time you won't, because you're almost exclusively voiding a warranty from the people who are giving you support if you're going and building your own stuff. Does that make sense? It's almost like, another way to put it, is sometimes systems engineering is not as fun as we would think, because we don't get to do the cool engineering. We simply get to plug in the thing that we bought. And if we plug it in any other way than the way we bought it, the company won't have a warranty. So think of it like that. Sometimes we get to do the cool thing. Sometimes I get to make a cool little script or playbook that goes and does something. And honestly, I'll be sitting there patting myself on the back all weekend while it runs. And I'm over there watching Netflix, watching it run. And then I'm like, yes, I get Monday off to also watch Netflix while nobody's, because I worked all weekend, but really all I did was watch Netflix all weekend and babysit my stuff. Anyways, so do I sometimes pat myself on the back? Sure, but most of the time we end up doing what's supported for the customer. Guys, I work in the government systems I work in. It is a non-starter. What I mean by non-starter is you can't even bring it up. If you bring it up, you're just going to be told to shut up. To have any system, any government system run on something that's not supported by a third-party vendor. And you say, really? Yeah. Because if I can't figure it out, I need to have somebody to ask. If I'm the support or the support team that I turn it over after I build it, they need to have somebody that they can put a support ticket up, or it's a non-starter. You literally can't even use it in the government sense. But also, by the way, that's a good practice for business too. Because why the hell would I want to buy something that I have to support myself? I mean, I could be the smartest guy around. I don't have years and years and years to go spend on the code that is how Slurm is built. There's guys that I can pay a little bit of money, right? Little bit of money compared to paying for somebody to do that all the time there. Yeah, always have a blame goat. Yeah. We call it always having a nectar ring. A nectar ring. hold on. Gemini, can you draw? I said neck to ring, and it said a nectar ring. So I'm gonna see what this does. Hold on, I'm just curious. What is a nectar ring? Oh man. All right. It's wonderful. It's even glistening in the sun. I want to download that. I want to take it. Downloading. Give me that. Can you give it more nectar? Sometimes this thing will be like, I can't do that. It thinks that I'm asking it something dirty, and I'm like, I don't really want it to be. Hold on. I just got a question. Kowalski, hi-hat. Oh yeah, look at that, more nectar. I'm just downloading these because it's my put your nectar ring on a necklace and wear it. Can Sonic? I don't think it'll do this. Can Sonic the Hedgehog? I don't think it'll do anybody that's copyrighted, but we'll see. I'm not paying Gemini anything. It's just I don't know if it'll draw him because he's a copyrighted character, you know? That's kind of cool, huh? Let me get that out of the way. All right. That's kind of funny. I thought that was funny. Sonic's ring's the first one that looked like that. Yeah, that was actually funny. That ring shouldn't have had, because Sonic's rings are always just golden, right? Yeah, guys, but this is what we do. I'm not showing you any of the actual work I'm doing in the other stream, but this is the stuff that we do as systems admins and then systems engineers. We work over into building this stuff. Oh, on YouTube, Damalar, you said, is this going to be on YouTube? Well, you're actually watching it on YouTube, but are you saying like the course that we're running? Yeah, the course, the engineering course is down in the Discord. So if you hop down in Discord, that's where we're going to run it. I haven't decided if I'm going to record it the first time. We'll see how organized I get it. But then we'll go. Hayes, you said it costs about 10 cents for you to generate an image, but it's worth it. Yeah. Well, if you want to generate it and throw it in the AI portion of Discord, you're welcome to. I like the AI ML part. I'll put stuff up there. That's where I got these little, actually Google Gemini is where I got our little penguins down there standing in a data center. AKA Cold Isle Linux, right? That's what those little penguins are doing in the bottom right, in case you guys are wondering. So, yeah, but for people that are interested in the courses, they're going to be free. They're going to be down in Discord. I will move as much as I can up into the YouTube space so it's persistent. But some of you guys will find out that aside from like this live stuff, I'm kind of a bit of a perfectionist, which I know probably doesn't make a lot of sense because you probably look at this and go, man, this guy's a madman. Yeah, sure, but when I do stuff that's like published and out there, I want it to at least be kind of good, you know? I thought Nintendo bought Sonic. Did they not buy it? It was originally Sega, but I thought they bought all that. So maybe I'm wrong on all that. I don't know. Yeah, it was originally Sega for sure because I didn't have a Sega growing up. That's for sure. Sega was too expensive. All right. So yeah, I'm cleaning up the home lab. In fact, one of the things I'm doing this week is I'm going to make our monitoring better for exactly what's happened inside of our our Linux environment. In fact, do I have that? Here, hold on. Control Z. Ansible. Oh yeah, we were hitting like the login nodes. Let's hit all real quick. And then I think I need, what directory am I in? Yeah. Let's just run that real quick. And if you guys are in our Discord and you look in the sandbox channel, you'll actually see the output to this command here in a second. It's going to pop up and it's going to say users have logged in. However, I do need to fix the way that that's running because it's not set up just yet. It's not set up right just yet, but it'll go check all these. It'll make sure that they're in the last 24 hours if anybody's logged into them, and then it's going to make decisions to reboot some of these. It'll reboot the ones that have been logged into in the last 24 hours. Also, if nobody's logged into them currently. So this will be, this is my way of getting this, getting the labs a little more cleaned up. So then basically we'll check to see if people have been logging in, and then we'll reset nodes every day. My time zone is Mountain Standard Time. I'm in Phoenix. So the Mountain Standard Time, I don't change when everybody else does. Everybody else just changed time zone, and I did not. So that's going to post out to the Discord in the sandbox. Oh, I need to fix that because some of those are not right. So then if we pull up the Discord and then we go look, you'll see the 24-hour user login just popped in, and nobody's been in any of those servers, which makes sense because, yep, nobody's been in there. So, also, it looks like I changed that to UTC because it reported out in UTC in the sandbox if you guys go look. Which, again, and for you guys that did the Linux sysadmin course, I actually made a webhook for you guys to use. And then the funny thing was somebody found that webhook. We're not going to post it in there again. We'll do it. We'll figure out a different way to do it, and we'll generate it when we're doing the course. But it was kind of funny. Somebody started posting some pretty gnarly stuff in there, so I had to turn it off, and then I had to go delete a bunch of stuff out of there. It was doubly awkward, but we won't talk about what it was. If you guys want to ask me down in Discord sometime when we're hanging out, I'll tell you. Yeah, the Discord webhook thing was hilarious. We do it in lab. I want to say it's week 12 or 13 we do it of the Linux sysadmin course. I show you guys how to write with Ansible. It's whichever one is Ansible. I show you guys how to write out to Discord with it. I give you a block of code. You guys can modify it. In fact, I need to see if anybody can make it better because I do it just through a webhook and URL module. And there's actually a Discord module that might work better. I just didn't. It wasn't working when I first set it up, so I didn't use it. So, and I'm all for letting you guys make my stuff better. I'll tell you guys all the time, man. I'm very good at very simple things. I am not good with the. I am not. You guys won't find me doing like super deep engineering thinking. Sometimes you will, maybe in security space, but for the most part, you'll find me doing simple things well. And then people will show me stuff later on. Like, I'll show somebody how to use a tool, and like a few weeks later, they'll show me something and be like, what do you think of this? And I'm like, it's way more advanced than I've ever built. Like, you're already excelling past me. I'm just the guy who knows how to do the basics. And then I'm pretty good at the troubleshooting typically, and then that makes me look like I know what I'm doing most of the time. Alpha Victor Charlie said, what's the problem statement? I don't know what that means. I don't know what that is. Yeah, over engineering until you forget why you did. That's funny. I like that. Yeah, so at the end of the day, this is what we do around here. Just hang out and do a bunch of Linux. See if we can get things to work the way that they should. If they don't, then we back off and do some other route. Listen to some tunes. All right. I'm gonna go. I don't have any of my mods here, which is kind of funny. Normally I have a mod around, at least some of it. I'm going to set up another hourglass. Whoops. Wrong one. Get out of here. Let's go to an hourglass. And we'll set a... Turn the hourglass back on. There we go. Transition them over here. We say break and take a walk. All right, take a walk if you guys want. Smoke them if you got them, all that good stuff. I'll go wander around a little bit. Colcus, I think you're a mod in some other channels that I hang out in. Actually, speaking of that, where has Practical been? I haven't seen Practical online in a while. Practical NPC. Normally I raid him. Like if he's on right now, actually I'll check. I'll make sure he's not on before I'll raid out here in a little bit because I gotta do some stuff here in a little bit. He's been on his alt. And that's just like non-practical, impractical, right? Walking. All right, I'm taking a walk. I'm like Christopher Walken over here. I love when the guy pulls the gun on him. If you ever see the movie Seven Psychopaths, the guy pulls the gun on Christopher Walken and says, "Get your hands up," and he goes, "No." He's like, "But I got a gun." He's like, "So? I don't wanna." I love it. All right, I'm taking a walk. You guys keep behaved. I don't know. back, guys. I was on fort building duty, so now I'm back. I was building forts for the grandbaby. Mods were, yeah, the mods are not. I don't feed my mods enough, I guess. They don't show up during the day. But I was on fort building duty for the grandbaby, so. Kowalski asked on YouTube, when is the course starting? The courses are both going to start on March 22nd. Then there will be a 1-week break because I'm going to be in California wrestling. And then we will start back. The week of April will be the second week. That first week of April. So it starts on March 22nd. The easiest way to find that, if anybody wants to find that, is, let me pull up the Discord real quick here. Yeah, oh, I wanted to show, well, I wanted to show this. Yeah. Guys, I'll be right back. Yeah, I was going to show, Ezra, come here. All right, guys, back. I had to show the grandbaby's fort that I built off. All right, hold on. Let me see if I can pull up my Discord real quick again. Boom, pull that up. So for people that are asking about when the course starts, you can always come to Discord and then scroll up to the events. And here are the events that are going on right now on our Discord. There's the writer's room on Saturdays. That'll be in your time zone for people that don't do a lot with Discord. This will be in your time zone. For me, it's 12 p.m. For some of you, it'll be whatever. Down here, Linux sysadmin course. That's got 63 people saying they're coming. We had 208 the first time that said they were coming. That'll be March 22nd. And then March 22nd at later that day, we're going to do the Linux systems engineering course. Yeah, Alpha Victor Charlie. I just call it wrestling because people think it's karate if I tell them it's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I just call it wrestling, and it's all the same to everybody then. They don't think I'm doing karate with knife hands and stuff. So 16, 63, 33. We got a lot of people coming. Yeah, Walken. Big fan of Christopher Walken. Love his stuff. Yeah, wrestling's the easiest way to just mention it. Because then RASSLIN. People don't get it too confused. But when we start the course up, I'll start dropping this down so we'll see, how many people have been logging in. I'm going to probably build some other checks inside of the system to report out to our sandbox channel, just kind of like what's going on inside of the environment, just so people can see things, so people can see what's going on, people can see alerts and different stuff. There's all kinds of stuff going on in here. Actually, if we go up a little bit, you guys can see the ones from last course. So this was Kolkus, if Kolkus is still around. This was him putting out the this was before, obviously down here we somebody found the webhook. Yeah, it was on the 6th of I was in where was I at? I was down in Ohio when that happened. And then we had to kick the guy out or whatever, but we had to kick him out and we had to take off the webhook. But yeah, this was like package drift of some servers, right? And we went and did some labs and built this stuff out and did whatever. And on the first iterations of stuff, sometimes it's not as nice. Like this doesn't look as nice, and this doesn't look as nice yet. But then after you run it a few times and do your stuff, that looks like something that I could see posting out, especially if I only was doing drift of maybe I have 3,000 servers, but I only want to post the drift of the 3 that have changed because somebody modded something on them. And then I just need to make sure that we tag that, yeah, this was modded within the system because there was a proper change request. Or it was an emergency change request and we just had to put it in and get it working, but then now we need to go back through and do the documentation on it so our system stays clean and up to date, right? There's nothing worse than just like, a lot of people don't like it. They're like, oh, on a ship I have to keep everything clean and I got to wash the barnacles off the side. Well, if you don't take the barnacles off the side of the ship, the hull is only good for 10 years. But if you do clean the stuff off, the hull will last for 30 years. That's an easy effing decision. Make the guys clean the side of the hull. Hull, right? Yeah, anyways. All right. So anyways, my point is there's all this stuff going on down here, and there's a lot of stuff to get involved with in the Discord if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. But anyways, that's when the course is coming up. That's how we kind of do things over there. And I want to say that's like week 13 or 14 when we do. I think it's when we do all the Ansible stuff. And I do really want to rework it. I think I talked to Treasure about it. He's the guy who's running most of it. But Treasure, not Treasurer. I need to talk to Treasure about it where I may add in some Ansible stuff from the very get-go. I just want Ansible. I want automation to be built into everything because honestly, you can't do this job better than a robot without your automation involved. One day the robot's going to beat you. And honestly, the robot's going to be better at generating Ansible too. But you're going to know how to do the Ansible and you're going to know where the problem is and you're going to be more effective. So at least that's my thoughts on it, as a guy who's just been doing it for a long time. So, all right. Other than that, thanks for the follow. I might have missed one of the follows when I was out on break, but we're just hanging around trying to get better at this stuff. You guys are welcome to hang out and get better as well. Ask questions. You don't just have to ask questions of me. There's all kinds of other people in there that know this stuff better. Alpha Victor Charlie, best place to start on Ansible in my mind is this right here. I'll link the labs. I have labs on Ansible that show you kind of how to get started. They are free. Killer Code is like one of the best free websites around. But my labs out there, I think I have like 20 something, maybe 25 on Ansible. And they start you from the very beginning, what I think you need to do, which is get Ansible installed. And then the next thing I think you need to do is get an inventory set up. And then the next thing I think you need to do after the inventory is get the, so you get your system, you get your tool installed, you get your inventory set up, then you start running ad hoc commands and understanding ad hoc, this is an ad hoc command, right? Can I hit all of the nodes? Where's he at? One of these guys. Can I hit all the, I don't want Sleep 600. Can I hit all the nodes and check their uptime? Let's do -F, 20 is fine. Excuse me. 20 nodes at once just to validate that they all come back. After that, you start building. So ad hoc is great, but it's too one-offy. We need to start adding in the ability of playbooks because with playbooks, Ansible remembers things and can use variables and it can set the state. And it can remember the outcome of things, and Ansible can do so much decision making based on the different types of systems. And the way I think of it all the time, let me see if I can find a GIF of this. Let's see, GIF of Plinko machine. Is this what I'm thinking of? Can we just have? Somebody's got animated little Plinko boards. Yeah, like this, where it'll just do. Maybe I need to. You know what? That's really cool. I might need to run something like this. That'd actually be fun. I'm gonna keep this guy's GitHub up. But my point is this, right? If you've got this tool, and this is how I think of Ansible, all your system inventory is dropping in like this, and we don't know what decisions are going to happen. Like basically, I don't know what this playbook's going to look like. I know the inventory is maybe 1,000 machines. But those 1,000 machines were given to me by my configuration management database team or some other team that wants me to work on their stuff. And I say, okay, well, it comes down in the first decision is it a RHEL 7 or 8 or 9 box? Is it a web server or a database server or an application server? And it's just going to plinko down and make all these decisions about the path that it's going to take until it gets to whatever thing is at the end. And that's really how I think of this. Like a playbook should be good enough to hit, like, well, 2 standard deviations out would be what, like 90. 3 standard deviations is 99.7. I think 2 standard deviations is like 66. So you need a little higher than that. But you don't need to be quite at 3. But basically all the use cases that can come out should be captured by your automation. And I call that painting with a wide brush, right? Painting with a wide brush is the fact that, like, I can hit 1,150 of my 1,200 servers. Those other 50 servers, we're going to have to go touch them, and that sucks. But 1,150 of them work just fine, and that automation saved us a lot of our patching night. You know, we got a 12-hour patching window starting at, midnight on a Saturday, and we're all going to be up all night. Well, shit, I want to get as much done as I can through automation, that I catch as many of the one-offs and different things as possible, and then I move back around. I'm gonna. That's actually funny. I'm gonna figure this out. What does he do? It's an R package for. Yeah. That's funny. I'm gonna keep this and have this as like a little. I'm gonna make this into like a little GIF. He actually probably already is a GIF, but I will start using that as one of my examples. Maybe I'll generate my own because he's giving me the code here for R. I don't do a lot in R, but I do work with a lot of people that work with R. So, yeah, Gearling's good. I think Gearling's probably the best guy around for everything, although I don't know that he ever focuses on beginners. He assumes that you're using it and know stuff, which I've actually met Gearling. He's a good guy. He was doing some Raspberry Pi stuff when I met him. He's still doing Raspberry Pi stuff, but I think I met him back in 2018. Was it 2018? No, I met him in 2019. He came to Ansible Fest and talked. He did a John Hammond. John Hammond, but not the security John Hammond. The other guy from Jurassic Park. Isn't that John Hammond? Somebody help me out here. What was the name of the old guy in Jurassic Park? He did one of those where he talked to himself on screen with a pre-recording. It was pretty funny. He did it for about 10 minutes. It's pretty good. And he's like, I've never tried this before. This is my first time. And then, he did all that. But all right. Guys, I got an alert. I've got my call here in 10 minutes, so I got to get off here. John Hammond. Yeah, that guy was John Hammond too. Yep. But there's also a guy, John Hammond, that does security, and I just don't want to have anybody conflate the two. And, guys, this security group that we're doing, this security engineering is going to focus on securing Linux. And then the one I tried to do them both in the same, but I'm just not going to have time. We're going to do a second security engineering one probably later on this year that's going to focus on the offensive side of it. So some of you guys know I was the red team lead for AAA as well. I understand a lot of that stuff as well, even though that's not what I do professionally. I play mostly defense, which is fine with me. I don't mind. But I do understand the offensive side of it. So we are going to do an offensive red team course as well. And it's not going to be... It's going to have pen testing in it, and it's going to have scanning and all that kind of stuff too. But it's not going to be like derived from any of the normal courses or any of those kind of things that are out there. Because obviously you could do CEH or you could do the penetration testing, network professional or whatever those are. We're not going to do that. We can't do a Linux sysadmin security one. Alpha Vic Charlie, I don't think you'll be able to from a time perspective, but you could do them both. Here's the thing. The sysadmin course will be, I would think of that more for like the beginners. And the security course, I will not be holding people's hand. Like if somebody's like, hey, I can't get into the systems, I'm going to be like, well, you're going to have to troubleshoot that. And then we're going to go on. You know what I'm saying? Like we're not going to slow that one down for things that like an admin has to figure out, if that kind of makes sense. It's the old military crawl, walk, run methodology. We are going to be walking in that course. We are not going to be crawling. So could people come to both? I'm not going to stop them. I'm just going to tell you there's going to be a lot of work in both. It's probably going to be about 20 hours of work between the two of them if you try to do both. 20 hours a week for people is a lot. So, all right. But no, I'm not going to take attendance. I'm not going to ask people to leave. That would be weird. I've never asked anybody to leave. In fact, the only person I know of ever leaving our Discord in a huff was not told to leave by our mod. Our mod timed him out for a day because he did something. I don't remember exactly what he did, but a mod who I back on it, he timed the guy out and the guy chose to leave. But we've never that I know of, besides like that weird thing where people were compromised. We've never made anybody leave the server, right? Now that's not a challenge. I mean, if you get in there, if anybody gets in the server and starts acting like a lower than average intelligence person trying to piss everybody off, I can see one of the mods getting to you before me. Because the mods on our Discord can be swift and just. But for the most part, they're mostly pretty chill guys too. They're all in the industry too. They're all people I personally know. For the most part, I think there's only one or two mods that I didn't meet before all this. So, all right, let's go find somebody to raid on the Twitch side of things. I think I know who I want to raid if he's still on. Let's see who's doing stuff. All right, we will raid over to. Let's go raid. Let's go hit Rossberger. He's doing some fun stuff. He's kind of a higher energy guy, so we'll just raid over there. And the raid message will be do all the Linux. It'll be our normal little rage message that we always do. I appreciate you guys coming by. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you guys. Feel free to come out and hang out in the Discord with us. And I will see some of you guys later. All right. Take care.